before, and I've been in the fight for most of that time. I see in this room the elements, all the elements necessary for a just country within the United States and laying the principles, working with people all over the world. But I've been talking to April about a number of issues. One of the things is that there have been periods in the history of the United States when the population was alive. The struggle was very active, including here in Chicago. In fact, Chicago was in the leadership for quite a number of years. But the powers that be, Prexy is gone, Prexy and I both know this, the powers that be learn how to undermine, to undercut, and to destroy the movement. And I'm talking about a movement that I was very active in back in the 1960s and have continued to the present, but particularly in the 1960s, after World War II. Many immigrants came to this country. First of all, we're all immigrants here. Good. It makes me so angry every single day that everybody except Native Americans are from a different country. Either have come here through forced slavery or come from hardships in European and other countries looking for a better place. So this struggle that Trump is talking about, immigrants, he's an immigrant just the same as her, and I want all of us to start saying that. We're all immigrants. Yes. And we support all the people who are here. We can't let this man continue to tell the lies about us and the people of the world. That's just sort of a foundation. But back in the 1960s, it was a very fairly similar process that was going on. Not quite to the evil extent that it is now, but it was during the McCarthy period in the United States. Anyone who was actively engaged in working for justice and a better way of life for people was called a communist. And the attempt was to destroy, to tell lies about people and destroy with that kind of terminology. A movement grew here in this Chicago, led by young people. It was in the Lincoln Park neighborhood, primarily. It was the movement that was against the plans of the Daley administration and other large mayors in the United States to remove all poor and working class people, black and brown, as well as other immigrants, gypsies, and many others who were here from the neighborhoods where they were living. Lincoln Park and Woodlawn were the two peak areas in the city of Chicago. I was asked to be by 26 churches who were, as one young woman said, the churches were, I think it was you, were providing a role of care for people in their communities. They were concerned about food, clothing, shelter, as we are now. They also were the leaders in telling people that the city's plans were to remove everyone who was there, who were their parishioners, who were working, and so on. And I was asked to be the one that would go door to door and talk to people. In doing that, I met Chacha Jimenez, and we were around making posters on the street for a meeting that was coming up. Chachi came up to me and said, "What are you guys doing?" And I explained it to him. I said, "This row of houses, everyone's to be evicted from, but people don't even know within the next few weeks, because the mayor wants to renovate these houses for wealthy people." Chacha said, "Oh, you're trying to push us out." I said, "Not me, but the city of Chicago and the whole U.S. government right now is oriented toward pushing people who are immigrants from Puerto Rico, from Mexico, from other countries, poor and working class people who've been here for many years, out of the neighborhoods that they've been in, and in order to increase the tax base and renovate the communities for wealthier people." Chacha came with his buddies to the next meeting that was sponsored by the Conservation Community Council, and all was history from them. A movement of several 100,000 people was built, led by young people, supported by their families, supported by their churches, to the point, and then it became a rainbow movement when the Black Panther Party, living just west of Chicago, saw what was happening, joined with the Young Lords, and then became a real threat. And this is important. This is an important lesson. Became the real threat for the city of Chicago. When you join together across race, culture, age, religion, nationality, you are the threat. The way the city countered that was to order murders against the leadership. Straight up murders. They murdered 3 people in the Young Lords, and they murdered 2 people in the Black Panther Party. Then they proceeded to flood the community with drugs. Now, the Young Lords were just a few months, few years past the drug stage, and so some were tempted, not all. One of the most consequential murders that took place that engaged other sections of the population, there was a pastor and his wife, Bruce and Eugenia Johnson, who were engaged in the movement and were pastor and wife of the Armitage Avenue Methodist Church. They had invited the Young Lords in for a cultural center, for a breakfast program for youth, for children, and they were found one morning by a mailman. Their children were wandering in the streets, were toddlers, and the children were crying, and the mailman with a neighbor went into the house and found this couple had been stabbed to death 38 times. They, 10,000 people between Lincoln Park, Wicker Park, Humboldt Park, all joined together in a little bit further north, Lakeview, all joined together in a funeral procession. So what I'm saying is that we have to beware that as we build the movement, we do build it across all races and cultures and ages. But we are aware of certain dangers taking place. There are other things that happened during that time, through the leadership of the young lords, really, there was already a movement, a land movement in California led by Cesar Chavez and by Tirina in New Mexico. The Native American community, primarily in the Dakotas, rose up. So across the country, people were rising, and in cities all over the country, just as is occurring right now. There are more lessons. I just wanted to present this in order that we beware and we take, we build into the organizations that we are building right now safeguards so that the movement is not destroyed. And part of that is building internationally as well, as Brexit said.
Yes.
It's the future. Everyone is going to have to work together as family. In the city, in our neighborhoods, the city, this country, internationally, to counter what we currently have, which is a destruction of the human race. They're attempting to destroy a good part of the human race. Finding all the ways to work together and hold yourself together, and to work with the whole different array of issues. The land is so important. We have to own the land worldwide. Most of the countries of the world have already been stripped of the value of the land and of the land itself. And here also it is at a critical stage. Very exciting things are happening in terms of land building. A number of people stayed at home last year that are doing amazing things across this country. And all of these various issues are interrelated. So yes, you have to come back again. and there are many stages of development, but I want to invite people to come to an amazing event. There have been amazing events happening in Inglewood. I'm very connected to Inglewood at this moment, and we have been for the last 30 years. But the 15th anniversary of Rage Resident Association of Greater Inglewood is taking place on Saturday. You can call the office and purchase a ticket. There's no limit on the number of people that come. It's going to be held in Jolly Cultural Center on 35th Street. But Rage, 15 years ago, said the way we get power in our community, which has been totally controlled by the outside to the disadvantage of the population, is a resident-based organization of people taking control. It is now an organization of, the numbers change a little, but in the 400 to 600 active members that are starting things on their blocks every day, in the schools, businesses popping up everywhere. I never knew that in a small space like that there could be so many active and profitable Black businesses. But there are. And there are other organizations equally active in the community, all of these working together. Teamwork Inglewood, which deals with quality of life issues. Rage basically is taking control of the land and housing and regaining the housing that was stolen from the community through contract sales back in the 60s and 70s. Teamwork Inglewood is dealing with many quality of life issues, as is Imagine Inglewood. If, again, all of these are hundreds of people. Some the same, many different. And if you have seen the news lately, we received a Genius Award via Selena Lewis-Johnson. Everybody needs to go on YouTube and put in Jolita's name and watch from beginning to end her film, which is called Folded Map, which in which she exposed through her photography, through her artistry, the racial segregation of the city, and also the elements to bring people together. It's so powerful. And along with her, this is the very last thing. I'm mentioning all of these because it shows the organizational power that comes from communities working together. The last is the Inglewood Arts Collaborative. 10 people that are expressing everything that needs to be expressed in the world via their arts, performing and visual, literal, etc.
Thank you.
Thank you.